Alright, welcome everybody to the stream. We are going into yet another lower bracket match between Neolution Esports and this time Team FV. Now, this time we will be seeing Neolution Esports be playing on that Hellborn side with FV on that Legion side. That's okay, looked it up. FV actually stands for Forevers, so we'll call them Forevers. Or we'll probably just call them FB, but just so you know. And yeah, so we'll just jump into the game real quick right now. And yeah, just begin with a little betting phase right here. First ban coming out from the side of Forevers is gonna be a Monarch here. Still one of the strongest defensive supports. Gonna be banned out immediately, and next ban gonna be from the side of Neolution Esports, gonna be the strongest carry of the meta, Clanks. So so far just strong heroes being banned out in general here. Everyone's afraid of the power level that these two heroes hold. While also actually being banned out from the side of Forevers after probably a little bit afraid, probably a respect ban against Wolfheim from their previous game.
Bombardier.
Apologies, that was a little bit strange. Music started playing, but okay, so next ban from that Hellborn side of Neolution Esports is gonna be a Fade. Very strong ganker hero, been played a lot in these games recently. But first pick coming out from the side of Forever is gonna be Bombardier. Interesting pickup here. Well, not really interesting, but first hero to be picked will be that one of the strongest mids of the meta. Since Bombardier was not banned out, they did swoop in for that opportunity to take that strong mid laner slash off laner, which was actually run by Neolution Esports in that previous game. Pebbles gonna be picked out for Neolution Esports. Actually, we've seen Pebbles being played by Neolution for the past 2 or 3 games now. Probably gonna be given to 5, 6, 7, 8 there. Pretty nice Pebbles play in his previous game versus P9K. Did pretty damn well with constantly tossing enemies back towards his teammates. Lightning fast reactions coming out from him. So excited to see how he will perform in this match. And a Behemoth gonna be picked up for the Legion side. Great counter initiator as always. Yeah, gonna be might see early ganks coming out from the Behemoth onto that Pebbles. Of course, Behemoth, a hero that is not very item dependent at all. All he really needs in those middle game stages is gonna be the portal key. So not gonna care too much for farm. So gonna be able to work around a lineup that is more greedier when it comes to both items and levels here. Of course, Behemoth's Fissure, even at level 1, having a quite a bit of damage and stun, 125 magic damage, a lot of magic damage coming out from a level 1 skill, together with the fact that if he does manage to wall an enemy, and it lasts for a whopping 6.5 seconds, so not something to be underestimated here. Of course, Midas is going to be the next pickup from Neolution Esports here. A strong offlane hero, once again, not very Midas as a hero, not too level dependent as well. Once he hits his level 4, gonna already have his ultimate stun, lots of damage coming out from him early on, as well as that flash farm potential, allowing him to burst down creep waves at about the level 9 to level 11 mark. And a Revenant and Blitz gonna be picked up for both sides. Revenant on the side of Forevers and Blitz on the side of Neolution Esports. Both of them very good supports here. Revenant very good ganking supports, excuse me. Revenant with his Invis, the Essence Shroud, I believe. Yeah, his E skill, the Essence Shroud. allowing an ally to go invisible. Gonna be very useful in these early games where warding is gonna be crucial. And yeah, for the Blitz, for the side of New Lucian Esports, instead, Blitz gonna be a very strong support indeed. That Q, the Blitzkrieg, dealing a lot of damage early on as well here. And the Quicken, gonna be a huge factor in these early fights here. Might allow for easy ganks or easy escapes for any of these Hellborn heroes. And a few bans coming out in the form of Ophelia and Swiftblade here. Ophelia being banned out from the side of Forever's, probably a respect ban against Zlapped as well as a ban that is one that's wary of earlier ganking potential from that hero, especially. The Swiftblade ban coming out from that Hellborn side, banning off a fairly strong carry. Haven't really seen Swiftblade being picked up much in these competitive games, but not too sure about that Swiftblade ban, but probably because this Hellborn side, it's as far as we can see from these first three hero picks, seems like they're centering their lineup mostly around a lot of magic damage heroes early on. So a Swiftblade with his Blade Frenzy gonna be able to counter that. So a quick ban coming out from them. And Silhouette gonna be banned out. Silhouette and Parasite, excuse me, both gonna be banned out from the side of Forever's here. Silhouette, they're probably anticipating Silhouette as a range carry here. For the Hellborn side, gonna be banned out immediately. Silhouette being quite a strong hero. We've seen Wolfheim play that Silhouette a fair few times, I guess. Not too much recently, but yeah, a fairly strong hero that transitions very well into the mid game, especially after she gets her Nullstone, after she gets her Portal Key. Although she is not at optimal potential, but it does give her a lot of fighting presence in team fights. So gonna ban her out as well to try to dampen that team fight power, at least earlier team fight power of that Hellborn lineup, who's already looking really scary with the amount of stuns and magic damage that they're pumping out right now. The not to mention the Parasite as well. Parasite, once again, a great early ganking hero if put into the hands of Zlapped. Gonna be very effective and efficient in that jungle, and present on the lanes as well to help with early ganks. And Artesia gonna be the next pickup for this Hellborn, for this Legion lineup, excuse me. Artesia also yet another hero that we've not seen recently in these competitive matches, but a very strong support nonetheless. With her ability to heal up allies, with that with the the Arcane Bolt switch to the healing missiles as well as the healing Dance of Death. Gonna be a huge factor in early fights where that heal is gonna matter the most. A few nice control skills here coming out to help with that Bombardier, especially Revenant and Artesia both possessing range slows to help Bombardier with better catch for his sticky bomb. So gonna help out a lot there. Madman gonna be picked up for this Hellborn side, probably for Wolfheim. Probably a position 1 Madman carry, I'm assuming. Doesn't seem like it's gonna be an offlane here. For now, Madman, once again, although this Hellborn lineup was denied that Silhouette for that early game, middle game carry presence, one of the one of those carries that ramps up towards that middle game, but Madman actually gonna compensate for that a fair bit here, considering that Madman's still a carry that ramps up fairly quickly in those earlier team fights. And even if he doesn't have his items, still able to do a lot of damage with just his stock and barrel roll, dealing a whopping 400 magic damage in just 8 levels worth of skills here. So for a carry, that is a lot of magic damage coming out from him. And a last pickup from Legion side, gonna be Nitro. Now this is an interesting pickup. Haven't really seen Nitro in any of these competitive matches at all here. not one of the strongest heroes. Recently, her little companion Mauser took a little hit as well from that nerf hammer. So gonna be a little less tanky. I believe his armor values were reduced because those high armor values made it really easy for them to conquer with just using Mauser to tank, but should still be fairly strong. So we'll see how this turns out. And Tempa's gonna be the last pick up for Zlapped in the jungle on the side of Neolution Esports here. Tempest once again one of his signature jungle heroes. Excited to see how this will work out with those little elementals being able to help out with body blocks and a fair bit of early damage early on with ganks. And alright, fairly unorthodox lineup here coming out for this Legion side. Really interesting to see how this game will play out in general, but let's go over the hero introductions. Now on this Legion side, playing for Team Forevers, we have Anakin on that Revenant. We have X-Heart on that Nitro. That Behemoth is gonna go to Mikwen. Rip Friends on the Artesia, and Bombardier on that Bombardier being played by Venatus. And on the Hellborn side for Neolution Esports, we have Lord Mikhail on his Midas. Have seen him play that offlane Midas quite a few times across a few tournaments. Sakurada on that support Blitz, gonna be very strong early on with just a few skill points especially. And 5678 on his signature Pebbles here has redeemed himself in that previous match. We'll see if he is able to continue his rampage here. And Zlapped on his signature Tempest, and Wolfheim on that carry Madman. As far as the early laning stages go, although it does seem like Hellborn packed quite a hell of a lot of magic damage here coming out from both from Pebbles, Midas, and Blitz as well actually, along with that Madman who's able to help out with those early bursters. But looking at this Legion lineup here, it seems like they have the upper hand actually. Artesia lots and lots of damage from that arcane missile. Not leveled yet, so we can't really see. 125 magic damage, as much as Behemoth deals with his level 1 fissure, so a lot of damage coming out from her as well. If Behemoth gets a nice little fissure off on anyone, the follow-up damage from the rest of the team, if there were just one or two more heroes around him, should be pretty massive here. As far as carry potential goes, Madman's a pretty strong hero, but Nitro being a hero that I mean, being more of a niche pickup in like pubs and stuff, but haven't really seen her in competitive matchups at all, so not too sure how she's gonna play out. But those heat round stacks early on, they are going to hurt quite a bit here. The setup slows from the rest of her team as well as Behemoth stun should allow for her to get those stacks off fairly easily in team fights, so interesting to see how it turn out. Nitro, a hero that tends to go for that shield breaker early on. Might go for a glass cannon build with shield breaker and potentially something maybe even a little bit wacky like I don't know, Elder Parasite, but probably not. If Wolfheim manages to get his portal key early on in the game, if he manages to crush that mid lane and get the portal key, he should be able to walk all over this Nitro and just burst her down every single time here. Nitro, too much of a glass cannon to face up against Pebbles properly. But yeah, honestly Nitro could even be put at the middle lane to go toe-to-toe against that Pebbles here. Her the physical damage coming out from her ballistic should be quite a pain towards against a Pebbles who has barely any armor early on. Sitting on only 1 armor at 5.7% damage reduction here at level 1. Barely any at all. Much lower than the Tempest in fact, who's on 4. the Pebbles does break those trees early on for his Jungle Tempest, allowing him to get those stacks, to get those double stacks from both the hard and easy camps easily early on. So nice move from him there to help the jungler out. Does just rotate back into the fountain to get all his mana back, so no biggie. Blitz sitting around that tier 1 tower, looking for any supports to ward as well, taking a little bit longer with his own ward. And does place it down eventually, secures that little rune area to help Pebbles with rune control, and the other ward coming out from, it was from Sakurada as well, on that cliff to control the top rune. So both runes warded out actually. Lots of priority given to this middle lane. And of course, you know, these runes will help out those side lanes as well in case the middle Bombardier does decide to gank. So that is going to be quite useful, but yeah, quite a lot of help for this Pebbles in terms of vision here. And Legion side, the Artesia is just simply gonna place a deep lane ward here to help out his Nitro with any against any potential ganks coming out from the lane itself. Nitro gonna go early on to make sure that the block from that Midas will not be effective. Warlock does get pushed to the back of the creep wave, so smart play from her. And yeah, it seems like Nitro will have nearly full control of this bottom lane right now. Will completely box out Lord Makeo here as Artesia. Rip Friends does try to box him out, does spam out a few arcane missiles here to try to get him out of that lane and out of experience range. So seems like a tough fight here for Midas on that bottom lane. Meanwhile on top lane, Revenant, in comparison, actually having a fairly decent time compared to that Midas here. Will get most of those last hits off, I believe. He's sitting on 3-0 here, having a fairly good time. Although Blitz does come for the creep pool, but so yeah, Revenant tries to steal some of that creep EXP and gold, but will not be able to do so. Meanwhile, middle lane, 4 heroes sitting around here. Bihi just walks up and puts a water slide on that high ground for his Bombardier, but will not commit to any skirmish here. Does not have the damage for it clearly. And yeah, Revenant does get an early level of Essence Shroud up here, but Blitz will have that blue ward on him. Revenant should have spotted that out. Must be wary with his movements here. If he overcommits at all, he will get easily taken down by that Madman Blitz combo. So much slow and stun for that top lane, favoring that Hellborn side. Instead, Blitz will move towards that middle lane. Does secure that illusion rune here. Already level 2. Does have both his Quicken and his Blitzkrieg here. Might catch out Bombardier, but does not spot Artesia on the high ground. Drop stun coming in from Behemoth. Drops onto that Pebbles with the sticky bomb as well, dropping to barely any life at all. But Blitz on the back line with illusions will catch out Bombardier. Bombardier dropping solo, gets healed up by the Arcane Bolt, but it will be enough here. Artesia falling pretty low, but illusions will get taken out by the bombardment here from Bombardier. Will be fine after all. So 3 heroes from each side, both sitting on that middle lane, being very aggressive. But no real outcome in terms of kills gonna come out for either side. Blitz does attempt to quicken, tries to go for the Bombardier, but decides not to. Bombardier is within the safety of that tower range. Seems like the commitment from the supports is gonna be pretty much okay. No real impact here, considering that the carries for both sides are happily pretty much free farming away. More so Nitro than that Madman. Still gonna have to tango with that Revenant just a tiny bit, but gonna be okay in general. Artesia does rotate into the jungle here. Makes good use of her arcane missiles to try to get a little bit of extra farm and XP. Does hit level 3 with that stacked up camp, so it's gonna be happy with that. Quite a bit of damage coming out from her with a level 2 arcane missiles over here. 150 magic damage, a lot of spam gonna be enabled by her, and a 0.5 second cooldown reduction. So Artesia looking to be pretty aggressive actually on the lanes right now. Behemoth as well, sitting behind that tree line, does know that Midas will come towards his direction here. Does spot him out, gets one right click off on him, but Seems like that'll be the end of that little exchange. Does think of stunning him out, but will not do so. Knows that Midas probably does have his warp. Have his warp, and he does. So, lane's looking fairly passive for now. A little bit of early aggression on that middle lane, but nothing to come out from that. Excuse me. Now TJ does spot Midas out here. Probably notifies him that they do have a ward there on that up cliff. And for now, Tempest actually having the highest farm for this Hellborn side, and of course, as expected, Nitro having the highest farm for this Legion side here, still happily free farming away. No one to really contest her at all. So not like Midas can really do anything here. As a solo lane, Midas being completely boxed out by that Behemoth, and with Artesia sitting around behind in that jungle after all. Gonna be under threat if he does try to contest the farm off that Nitro. Blitz unable to do much as well. Would be nice to see him actually sit near that top lane to try to box out the Revenant, who's getting a fair bit of farm on himself, 225 GPM. So as Revenant being played as more of a semi-core off lane here, not really much of a support, so I suppose that's fine as well. But yeah, no real gold advantage to either side really. No kills coming out yet, but as we say that, Blitz will sneak around the tree line behind that tier 1 tower together with a level 7 Tempest. Does have the Elemental Void here, might try to catch him off, gets the quicken off on himself, and will get the stun off on the Revenant, but two TPs immediately come out, and a quick Bloodlust comes out. Kill credit actually going to the Blitz himself, but the wall a little bit too late here, does not catch Blitz out behind the trees, so we'll be fine. And a 3-man TP to that top lane will force a fair bit of commitment for no result at all here, favoring Legion side. Meanwhile, Pebbles, he's knocking on the door of that tier 1 tower here with a double damage rune. 119 to 125 right click damage on him right now, a monstrous amount of damage considering how much base damage he normally already has. It seems like the double damage rune has already run out, so yeah, that's the amount of damage that he has normally. So geez, gonna be dealing a fair bit of damage to that tower while that Bombardier is away, trying to fend off heroes from that top lane.
Let's get it on!
Meanwhile, Nitro does already have her Ghost Marchers here. Ghost Marchers with a Grave Locket, I guess, yeah, a fair choice here considering that she does need the mana here. And chases that Midas down past the tier 1 tower, considering that she doesn't really have any real right click at all on her hero, so I guess every attack should be considered an orb attack here. Towers do not focus her for that. Behemoth will get Essence Shrouded up. Does not spot Pebbles in that tree line. Pebbles does show himself right now. Might be in a little bit of trouble. Sticky Bomb on his head here. Stalagmites will catch him off, and the ulti from the Bombardier will take him down in the end. And an easy kill from Bombardier. Nearly allows Pebbles to escape, but yeah, Behemoth does stay around near that tier 1 tower area long enough to spot him out eventually. And Blitz tries to get the D-ward, but Behemoth right around the corner here. Blitz does spot him out but does not care. Level 8 Tempest walking around here, might have the Elemental Void to catch them both off. Gets quickened up. Sticky Bomb does actually manage to damage at least Tempest here, but no real outcome from that one. Nice fissure from the Behemoth to just end that fight right there and then. And instead on the bottom lane, Nitro might get comboed up here, but Midas only on level 3, taking so much damage from her Ballistic here. And Blitz as well those heat stacks are gonna do a lot in the way of early damage, as we were talking about here. So they have to be careful. Even as two heroes against her, they couldn't get the gank off on her. Midas desperately needs levels on himself. Still level 3 right now. Does have red boots, but not much else. Middle lane, Bombardier continues to be an annoying opponent to this Pebbles. Just spams out his sticky bombs and doesn't even have to care at all. Barely takes up any mana for him at all. So yeah, is happy to spam those out. Blitz sitting around that middle lane but unable to find any opening for a kill on that Bombardier. Instead, Bombardier, together with 3 other heroes here on that middle lane, might decide to go for that tier 1 tower. It is really low, sitting on only 183 HP here. And Behemoth once again gets invis up. Might be able to get the fissure off on the Blitz. Blitz still has no idea that he's sitting right behind that Bombardier, but will play it safe. Tower was too low for his liking after all, and Behemoth will get revealed. The invisibility does expire on him, so Blitz gonna be fine after all. Smart choice not to overcommit onto any sort of harass to try to defend that tower. And yeah, pretty much the best outcome coming out for him here. Meanwhile, Madman doing a little bit better in terms of farm here, 370 GPM, but still lacking behind on that Nitro and her 408 GPM here. Does have his Sustainer, but yeah, not much else either. A couple of stacks coming out for him, levels up in stock and barrel roll, both level 4, gonna allow him to farm that up just a tiny bit, but still does need his Cleaver to properly farm any big stacks. For now, jungle will go to that Tempest, tries to make full use of that farm, goes for does already have his sorcery boots, does not seem like he has any early parts of that Astrolabe, excuse me, but yeah, we might even see an early portal key here, portal key rush coming out from that Tempest. This Hellborn side, they want to go for pickoffs, I suspect. Midas gets the quick warp out after spotting that hasted Bombardier, does not want to take his chances with him. And yeah, Legion's side, they take it slow for now. They have to be wary though, in about a minute or two, Tempest will have that portal key up. So team fight might not go as planned for this Hellborn side. Behemoth will probably have to sit back. Not sure if they expect this Tempest with his portal key timing, but he's only been around for 1 or 2 ganks, I believe. Sitting on 0-0 and 1, yeah, has assisted in 1 gank, so they probably do expect that Tempest to maybe have an Astrolabe actually, because Tempests do like to go for an early Astrolabe to help out with that team fight. But on the top lane, Behemoth invisible, but will get spotted out by the ward from Wolfheim here. Blitz goes invisible, drops another ward down, and might spot out that Behemoth, but Behemoth inside that tree line will not be found. A late Lion's Pride coming out from Midas will spot him out eventually, but not before he gets the TP out. Top lane, Behemoth. Excuse me, Blitz does quicken in, but the bombardment from Bombardier will deter him and that Madman as well. So they take a quick tower and they back off. Madman, sitting behind the trees, does want to continue farming on this this creep wave right here, and will do so. Sustainer already, and on top of that 1800 gold, should have a cleaver fairly soon. Let's rotate towards that middle lane for additional farm. Midas gonna have to give that up to him. Meanwhile, Legion, they're not wasting any time either. They're making them full use of their jungle for farm. Nitro does farm that up. Already has a Warhammer here. Even before having that Warhammer and a shield breaker, we can expect to see pretty soon. She was already dealing a monstrous amount of damage to both Midas and Blitz, I believe, on bot lane when they were trying to gank her, as we saw earlier. So gonna be an absolute monster here with just a level 1 shield breaker, but probably not gonna stop at that. Probably gonna go for the full level 3 before she gets any further maybe protective items like a null stone or a portal key here. Yeah, portal key. I mean you know, BKB. And yeah, there we go. Level 1 shield breaker. Gonna assist a lot in that jungle as well. Jungle creeps of course are vulnerable to that shield breaker, and Artesia on low health with one more right click from Pebbles will do it and will catch up to her as well. Almost gets the blitz but will not do so. Midas gets the warp out but taking a lot of harass from that Nitro, who will not commit but continues to farm. And the Revenant, greedy build here on that off lane, gets his boots, gets his Ring of the Teacher, and goes straight into the Alacrity band for that Alchemist bonus, excuse me. So Bombardier, no real core items on him yet, but sitting on 2100 gold, almost has his portal key. So this Legion side looking to ramp up their fight as well. And that Tempest that we were talking about actually doesn't get a portal key, goes for the Alchemist bones. Interesting build from him here. Seems like Hellborn side, they want to take this a little bit slower and grab as much farm advantage as they can. So yeah, indeed, Madman does have his cleaver, and that level 2 ultimate will be committed to farming that ancient triple stack here. So lots and lots of gold coming out for Wolfheim. Actually trumping Nitro's gold by Nitro's GPM by a fair bit here, and a quick pick off from the Pebbles that we were talking about here. An early PK does decimate that Artesia, so Nitro has to be careful here on these lanes. Cannot freely farm anymore on most of the lanes, but while we say that, she still is on that bottom lane here. Does know that Pebbles has ported in to kill her teammate already, and probably is on that middle lane, but doesn't play it very safe though. He was in that river side. Could have easily reached her had he chosen to go bottom, but does not do so. So lucky her does manage to not get ganked for now, at least. Oh, Behemoth invisible with the Revenant as well. They will catch out at Pebbles. Ulti committed from Behemoth, and Bombardier as well will dispatch him immediately. An easy kill goes their way, but two huge teamfight ultimates committed from both Behemoth and this Bombardier. So Hellborn side, they know that they have the upper hand in fights right now. Although they still have to be wary of that Artesia Essence projection. Lots and lots of damage coming out from the double Arcane Bolts. Tempest will spot that Nitro out. Immediate TP Black Hole. Blink Black Hole, excuse me. And the wombo combo from Midas will finish her off. And yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about here. So much catch coming out from this Hellborn side. Nitro just can't be caught out in the open like that, just farming anywhere, even in her own jungle here. Will get watered out. So at least she probably knows that they have a ward here in that jungle. Might get dewarded anytime soon here, but yeah. For now, farm will be dampened a fair bit, drops back to 360 GPM. Meanwhile, Madman takes the huge upper hand at slightly above 500 GPM. So gonna pose quite the threat soon. Pebble sitting inside the tree line here, might get a TP, a huge triple man combo, and Bombardier falls immediately. One more right click onto the Behemoth will finish things off, but goes for the Revenant instead, it seems like, but will get caught out by the Artesia with those Arcane Balls. One more toss in on the creeps, will go on him, but gets denied. Oh wait, no, that was a creep being denied, so an easy kill for the Pebbles. I was wondering how Behemoth would have gotten denied there, but he will fall to that, was it to the Nitro? Seems like it was to the Artesia here. No, he does fall to the Nitro, so a kill going the way of Nitro to help her out just a little bit more, but not too much in the way of the gold that she desperately needs right now. Bombardier already has his proto key. Doesn't seem like he really committed it to any surprise usage here, so no real element of surprise for this Bombardier and his proto key here. So still gonna be a threat, a huge threat in fact, to this Hellborn side, but they will see it coming this time. And Blitz gets the quicken in, goes on that Behemoth, drops his ultimate as well, wants to get the solo kill, but Artesia behind with the support will blow her up, but Behemoth sitting on such low health, might get the escape here. Tempest dropping really low as well, does not have any Astrolabe to help him out, but the wombo combo onto Mauser dropping so low. One more right click should do it, and it does not connect here. Gets recalled in time, and the Bombardier ulti will take down Pebbles. Hellborn side now on the run. Madman actually trying to go for the Kong right now. Will not get spotted out yet. Hellborn side, 2 heroes skirting around the edge of that Kong pit here. He has to be very, very careful. Does go invisible and stops hitting the Kong for a bit in anticipation of a gank on him, but will not happen here. Gets a free Kongor. And yeah, seems like it will be completely uncontested here. Legion side, they have no idea at all. Yeah, already has a Whispering Helm on top of that here. Gonna be very, very strong in terms of being able to survive in these team fights. And yeah, with that Rune Cleaver and his ultimate here, gonna be able to dish out a lot of damage as well. So Madman looking to be a monster real soon here. Sitting on top of an additional about 1800 gold. Might get 1 or 2 aggressive items fairly soon here. Although a BKB would be nice actually. There's so much control on this Legion side that even though he has the Whispering Helm and the Token of Life to protect him, might still want to go for that early BKB to allow him to weave in and out of fights easily and not get controlled up. And yeah, indeed does abuse his the space that he gets right now to take all the camps, or at least most of them, in this Legion jungle here to deny up Nitro off that farm. Nitro already has her level 3 shield breaker, but as we saw in that previous fight, is very vulnerable to burst damage. One combo from Pebbles almost kills Mauser. Does manage to make it out of that one, but still has to be very careful with how she positions herself here in these team fights. I believe we saw a portal key picked up for the Behemoth actually. Does commit it onto the lane to get the fissure off and all those creeps, but once again, element of surprise will be missing for the portal keys on this Legion side. Meanwhile, Pebbles picks up his own hand of Alchemist Bones, excuse me. Greedy pickups, but Thai teams, what can you do? Gonna be looking to wrap up his own GPM real quick here. Does want to rush the BKB as most of the heroes in this lineup do. Tempest completely ignores that Astrolabe here. Still has a fair impact in this game 20 minutes in, but does want to go for that immediate BKB to be able to get that nice Elemental Void off on 3 or more heroes without being interrupted. And on this Legion side, really no heroes to be able to interrupt him once he does have that BKB, so we'll have it real soon here in about another 1000 gold. So gonna be a huge turning point in these fights, as we can expect. Top lane Bombardier does have a Luminous Prism on him. Might choose to go for that Storm Spirit to save his Nitro or try to catch any other hero out here. Or what else can you go with that Luminous Prism? I believe you can build a Sheep Stick with that, but seems like it's too big a pickup for a stage so early in the game still. And once again, Madman running all around these camps and taking them all out. And yes, as we were talking about, does indeed go for that shrunken hit here. Will have so much free space to roam around in these fights and dispatch any heroes he wants. Does pop his ultimate here in anticipation of a fight on the middle lane. At the bottom lane, a quick gank onto that Nitro. Does destroy him, and middle as well. Wolfheim gonna be able to take out that Bombardier without much impact. Midas was there probably to help him out. Gets a little bit of a cheeky taunt there on that middle lane. Nice BM coming out from Wolfheim, but yeah, 2-4 for the side of Legion, so seems like it's gonna be a fair bit of pressure here on that middle lane for that tier 2 tower. They might group up for a middle push, and it seems that they will, setting up around the tree line off that where that tier 1 tower used to be. Yeah, they do want to go for a fight. Both heroes will be up in about 10 seconds here, so if they want the tower, they have to go for it quick. Madman still has about slightly under a minute on that token. does want to commit that token and die to get the full benefits out of that, but yeah, will tank up that tower, force the token to be used up here. Smart move from him, but it doesn't seem like Legion side want to play into his plan here. So he takes an easy tower and he just backs right off, probably back into the jungle to continue his farm. On the way back, does take out that Legion side Ancient, so even more gold for himself here. And Legion side, they are now boxed into their base area and maybe a little bit of their jungle here. Have to be very, very careful on these lanes. As we were talking about, Nitro doesn't seem to be too wary of her vulnerable position around the map in general here. Doesn't play too safely when it comes to farming. Runs around in that jungle here. A Ward of Revelation still there, not being dewarded by anyone at all. Courier comes out for maybe a Bombardier, maybe a ward or two to help your Nitro out. But yeah, nope, does have his full Storm Spirit, that Storm Spirit that we were talking about, maybe to save the Nitro here. They're trying to bait it out. Behemoth, Bombardier and Revenant all sitting around that tree line waiting for their Nitro to get jumped on. Does have the Storm Spirit to try to counter, but we'll get the TP out. Pebbles smoked up with his Blitz as well, and Tempest and Midas 2 follow behind. Wills, does not spot them out here, both of them invisible, but does spot out the Bombardier. Nice reaction from him to get out. Drops the ball on the Pebbles, will blow him out with the ultimate, but Behemoth still does have his ultimate, but will get right clicked down by the Blitz. One right click will do it, does not get the TP out. Bombardier last TP. Little push book by the Blitz will cancel that TP, and an easy kill for 4 heroes collapsing on top of him from the Hellborn side. And at the end of it all, I believe it was that Revenant, and does get the TP out, but at what cost? Loses 2 of his teammates, gets a Pebbles no doubt, but this should be an easy jungle retake for this Hellborn side. Basically, they recontrol the jungle. Nitro once again suffers in terms of farm. Looking back at the GPM charts, the disparity has only gotten larger. Madman on an insane 656 GPM right now. He is in a great position here. Has 3700 gold on top of his the previous items that he had, BKB, Cleaver, and that Whispering Helm. Does pick up a chalice for himself in between, I believe, to help out with his mana issues. So should go for a major item soon. We might see a Wingbolt on this Madman, and he should be an absolute monster in these team fights if he does get it. Doesn't really need any items in the way of control. His teammates have him covered in terms of that aspect, so we'll be fine. All he really needs is damage right now. Bottom lane, Tempest sitting there with a 10-second BKB still not used, and a fresh bound eye on him as well. Will be able to spot out any of those Legion heroes now in their Essence Shroud. Have to be very careful here. And Hellborn side, honestly, how are they gonna get back into this game? They need to get 1 or 2 pickoffs, take a team fight. They pretty much have to pressure this. They have to take this Hellborn lineup out pretty much 1 by 1 to be able to get an effective team fight off before, you know, getting a heavy push going on to stabilize those lanes and reclaim their jungle. But for now, will not be able to do so. And Nitro does not have the luxury of space to sit behind in those team fights to fire off at those Hellborn heroes. Will get taken out easily, and we see a Tempest rotating onto that bottom lane here. Might spot out that Nitro sitting at the edge of that of the creep wave's vision, but will get the TP out in time. Pebbles walks into the tree line to try to find her, but will get nothing. Dust off to find her out, but will not get her after all. Goes for the creep wave in the end, and seems like Hellborn are interested in a little pusher on that bottom lane. Once again, jungle is completely secured by them, so Nitro buddy, you're gonna need a little bit more farm than just a level 3 shield breaker to fight this Hellborn lineup. And yes, Madman indeed does already have his Wingbolt, just bought it in fact. So a little PK in from Midas, will get caught out by that Behemoth. Pebbles comes in, wombo combos up the Bombardier, so will not have his ultimate. Huge presence loss already. Essence Projection dropped down to try to slow those heroes off. Behemoth will get caught out on the backline, gets his ulti off on 3. Midas drops to about half health, but will be fine otherwise. Pebbles PKs in aggressively, might get caught out by the likes of Artesia, but no, does toss her back into the rest of his team. And an easy pick up as well. Midas dropping solo just from one explosion of that ultimate, but the wombo combo with the whole on 2 heroes. An easy team wipe coming out for Hellborn's side. And it seems like it might be Game Hero Legion. They call it concede vote, but they don't want to pass it just yet. Nitro goes in aggressively, tries to go in that blitz, but will get caught out by the team. What are you doing, Nitro? And the carry goes down once again, tries to delay that push just a little bit, but doesn't seem like she'll be able to do so. No one really expected her to be able to do so solo. Madman pressures that middle lane just a bit before backing off here. Is a little bit ballsy with his movement, but doesn't have to care at all. Still has a level 10 chunk in it, and that will peak game. And Nitro just couldn't reach that peak potential fast enough in comparison to that Madman. Honestly, we were wondering to see if she could really go toe to toe with that Madman at all, but it doesn't seem like that was the case. Sure, the damage coming out from her with that level 3 Shieldbreaker was pretty insane onto those squishier heroes, but against a Madman who already has Wing Bow on top of a Whispering Helm, all that armor coming out from him and lifesteal as well, she won't be able to do jack against him. And yeah, and Hellborn, they just roll over this Legion lineup after a certain period of time. A bunch of clumsy moves coming out from them as well. Being caught out of position, especially Bombardier and Behemoth being caught out by Pebbles and you know, Midas at times. But yeah, makes for a fast-paced ending here for this game. So GG, and the win goes to Neolution Esports.